Hello, hello. Welcome back to day 2 of this email marketing challenge. Today, we're going to be talking about the actual emails themselves and how to write the right ones and ignore the spammy ones so that people actually fall in love with getting your email in their inbox. And that's really the ultimate goal of this entire week, is to create lovable email marketing. So we're going to dive right in here. Now, the very first thing you have to recognize when it comes to email marketing is the purpose of this is to create a personal relationship with tens of thousands of people, okay? So we're going for that personality. We want to actually show your best self, show your professional side, of course, but really show you and be authentic and be raw and real in your emails, because that's what people want in their inbox. They don't want just another spammy email from Target, right? What they want is to actually get to know you and know your brand, understand what services you provide and what problem you can solve for them, right? But really get to know you and who you are. And the better you can do that, the more people will click and open and actually purchase things from you through your inbox. And that becomes quite powerful because email marketing is free in most cases, right? Except whatever you end up paying for the email automation system or software that you use, it's basically free marketing, which you can't find almost anywhere else. Even on social media, it's becoming more and more every day a pay-to-play activity, right? So email is sort of the last bastion of free marketing platforms. So how exactly do we go about creating a scenario where tens of thousands of people get on your email list and all of them feel like you're speaking to them? Well, I'm going to show you. We're going to look at the broad overview today of how we accomplish this, okay? So we kind of tie in what we did yesterday just for a minute. Yesterday, day 1 of the challenge, we were talking about the incentive that you need to create to generally bribe people to get onto your email list, right? It's not really a bribe, but essentially we're incentivizing them to give you their email address. The way we do that is by using a tool called a lead magnet. Now, hopefully by now you've kind of come up with what your lead magnet is going to be. If you're still struggling with that, make sure you comment below, guys. That's why we do these challenges live. I do them live so that I can answer your questions and support you and help you to actually accomplish this. Because watching 4 days of training videos is going to do nothing for your business if you don't take action. You've got to take action every single day. Do each step one after another in sequence that I teach, and you will get fantastic results, just like I'm getting in my own business. And that's what I really, truly want for you. So yesterday, your job, your mission was to identify what the problem is that you solve and what a minor part of that problem, a subproduct, you might say, of that problem is that you could offer to solve for free as the incentive to get on your email list. So for me, as an example, I solve business problems for people, right? So if you don't have enough clients, you don't have enough profits, it's feeling too complex. Those are the 3 biggest problems in business that I solve for people. What is a minor problem I could solve for someone that falls underneath that? Well, as the example I gave yesterday, doing a performance review on an employee. If you're new as an executive and you didn't go to school and learn how to be an HR specialist, you probably have never done a performance review, or you're doing performance reviews that don't really accomplish much, right? It's sort of like this conversation that just doesn't actually cause any change in the team members' behavior. So I created a checklist of exactly what steps to take in sequence to carry out a really awesome, valuable, usable performance review on an employee that actually gets the result of changed behavior, right? And I gift that to people when they join my email list. That's just one of many things that I use. It's one of my lead magnets. And it brings me leads being people who are interested in my services, who have now given me their email address, which gives me a way to follow up with them and turn them into clients, right? So yesterday, your mission was to create a lead magnet, or at least come up with a concept of one. Now I want to show you kind of the strategy of what we're going to be doing with that lead magnet. So first and foremost, we have to have an audience, right? We have to have some awareness of who you're trying to reach in order to use this strategy. That's sort of like square zero. I'm not going to cover that in this challenge because I'm assuming that you already have a business and you generally know who your ideal client is. If you don't, then you might want to stop doing this challenge and go figure that out first. But so you have your audience, who you're trying to actually attract into your business. And then generally speaking, this strategy is used the most online. So with social media, or you could also use Google Ads or some other method of getting people to your email list, you're attracting them. And what you use is your lead magnet. So you go around and you offer your lead magnet to people who generally express that they have that problem. Then we need some kind of automation system. This is your email automator, right? The one I use is called MailerLite. There's also Infusionsoft. There's ActiveCampaign. There's MailChimp. There's so many out there. They all do the same basic thing, which is they deliver your lead magnet to someone in exchange for your email address, okay? Once you've engaged that transaction, although it's free, it's still a transaction, right? You're giving them something, they're giving you something. Now you're going to hop them over, generally speaking, to a thank you page, which offers your services, right? Like schedule an appointment with me now, or, you know, fill out an application form to work with me, or whatever that looks like for you, right? You send them to your website. And on the back end, you're going to start doing the first step of email marketing, which is called an email nurture sequence. So what does nurture mean? Well, nurture in just generally means to make something better and better, right? When you're nurturing a child, you're giving them love and food and sleep and sunshine, playtime, right? Those nurture a child. They help the child to grow. When you are nurturing your subscribers, that the first couple of days are very key, because within an hour of them meeting you, they might have already forgotten your name and what you do. So we need to send them consistently a couple of emails to really start introducing you and solidify in their mind who you are, what problem you solve, why it's meaningful for them. All right, this follow-up sequence is called an email nurture sequence, and that's what we're going to be diving into today. So the purpose of these first emails, typically it's 5 emails, 1 per day. Some people do as many as 7 or even 14, 1 per day for 14 days. Personally, I use 5 because I don't like to scam people. I don't like to spam people and keep emailing them over and over again without their permission. So the first 5 days, and the whole purpose of these emails, you guys, is to build rapport, gain their trust, and incite them to take action. Right? We want to get them used early on to clicking on things in your emails and taking them to your website and get them familiar with the things that you do and the problems that you solve. A really great way to do this is if you have a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel, any kind of content creating machine, then you can gift them or, chosen, what's the word I'm looking for? Customize, there we go. You can customize for them specific blogs or specific episodes that you want them to watch based off of what they downloaded. So let me give you an example. Let's take my earlier example of the web designer, right? If you're a web designer, the problem you solve for people is that they don't have a website, or their website is ugly and they're worried about it, or their website is not making them any money and they want to monetize it, right? So if a person comes to you with that problem, what is a minor problem that we could solve for them with a lead magnet? Well, maybe the minor problem is that they're just worried about whether their website is good or not. So you could give them a checklist, right? Download this checklist and do a self-assessment of your own website. And then the checklist is just things that they can check off. Does my website have a call to action, right? Does my website have an about us page? Does my website have, right? You can just check those things off. And then at the end, they give themselves a rating or something, right? Okay, if you got 1 out of 10, you're right, your website needs to be updated. Or you got 9 out of 10, your website's actually pretty good. And they go, oh, okay, good. So you solved a problem for them. You solved the problem of worrying about whether or not they need a website, right? Or to improve their website. So now that they've downloaded your checklist, we want to start sending them emails that build rapport, get them to know you and like you and trust you, and incite them to take further action along the lines of the thing they were already interested in. So since this person's already shown or proven that they're worried about their website not being good enough, send them to a blog that you wrote that describes what makes a good website good, right? Or send them to an episode about the proper way to design, your homepage or something like that, right? Start giving them little pieces of content that get them to know you and also position you as an authority. Prove that you actually know what you're talking about, right? So this is the purpose of those first 5 emails. And if you go to the bonus page that I provided, it's part of this challenge. If you registered for the challenge, go ahead and head on over to the bonus page over by my website, and you will find examples of how to structure these emails, all right? That is your mission for today. I want you to take a look at how you're going to describe those first 5 emails. What are they going to say? How can you introduce yourself? Maybe go find some photos you can put in them of you at work or just a headshot of you. Even training like the one I'm doing right now. I could probably repackage up this video and turn it into something to put in my email nurture sequence if someone was interested in email marketing, right? So go ahead and take a look at what kind of content you could put into those first 5 emails that would build trust, get people to actually like you and know you, and also introduce them to your paid services, okay? Now, there's one other piece of training that I want to talk about today before I let you go. And this is, remember I said at the beginning, the purpose of email marketing is to build that personal relationship with tens of thousands of people. If you're ever going to accomplish that, you have to understand segmenting your audience, this concept of segmenting. So first, let's define the word segment. Segment is a piece of something, right? It's a portion. So we have all the people on your email list. All those people are not equal, right? Maybe some of them are old, some of them are young, some of them are male, some of them are female, some of them identify as something else. Some of them may be business owners, some of them are just thinking about starting a business, right? We have to break down that big, huge barrel of people into smaller segments so that when you send a message, the person feels like you're speaking to them. So I'm going to show you just one example of this. Let's take the industry of, let's take hairdresser, okay? So you're a hairdresser and you have these 3 people on your email list, Bethany, Kirk, and Steffi. Now notice these 3 people are very dissimilar people, but they were all interested in upgrading their website. But let's break this down, because if I send out one email to all of these people, none of them are going to feel like I'm really speaking to them. But let me show you what happens when we break this down. So Bethany is obviously 65 or older, right? She's retired. She has school-aged grandchildren, and her website, maybe it's a hobby website, or maybe it's a business that she's owned and she's retired, but she still has a side hustle or something, right? So her interest in building that website is going to be very different than Kirk's. Bethany probably doesn't have as much of a financial crunch as Kirk does, right? She's got retirement funds set aside. Maybe her reasons for building this website are going to be different, and her attention is on different things, right? She's the later part of her life, she wants to relax with her grandchildren. She wants to have work-life balance and things like that, right? So those are where her attention is at, and understanding her demographic and where her attention is at will help us write better email writing copy, right? Then look at Kirk. Kirk is an entrepreneur. He's young. The only person on his team is his pit bull, right? His pit bull is like his CFO. Well, if he has like this huge ambition to be the next big name in big tech, then his website not only needs to look different than Bethany's, but he also probably has different motivation than Bethany does to building this website. He might be a little bit more like, I want it done fast. I want it done, you know what I mean? That type of thing. And then let's take a look at Steffi. Steffi's a mompreneur. She has a job and her kids and this side hustle that she's trying to build, and you want to build a website for her side hustle. Well, she probably has a lot less money to work with because she's got 4 kids and, right? And she also probably has less time to focus on it, so you're not going to be able to reach her 9 to 5 or whatever. So by understanding the different motivations of these different types of people, we can break it down and send emails that really resonate with each type of person. So by labeling on your email list or tagging email subscribers as different types or different demographics, we can send much more powerful emails out. Because if I was going to send an email saying, hey, let me build your website, I would probably send a very different one to these 3 different demographics. I would send one to the women age 65 or older who have a website for their side hustle, right? And that email might say something like, have a little extra money in retirement, and let's design this website so it's easy to use and it's low tech, or something like that, right? And then if I was going to send an email to the young, 25 to 45 male entrepreneurs on my email list, my messaging is going to be completely different, right? I'm going to say, hey, get a head start now on building your 8-figure business, right? That's not where Bethany's head is at. That's not what she's worrying about. That's not a problem she's trying to solve, but it is a problem that Kirk's trying to solve. So that's what my messaging would be if I sent it to that segment of my audience. And then if I had this on the same email list, if I had a whole bunch of mompreneurs, I would send a different email to them saying, you've got tons of work to do. Building your own website is not something you should have to worry about. So let me take that time-consuming task off your plate so you can focus on the people who matter in your life, right? And she's going to go, oh yeah, totally. That's exactly why I need a website. So by segmenting your audience, you can create powerful messaging that actually reaches people and makes them feel like you really understand them. And when the client feels like you understand them, that's when they're going to get interested and excited in working with you. So I want you to take a look at your subscriber list. If you already have one, I already created for you guys some samples and examples of how to craft these 5 emails. I want you today to actually write out the 5, 1 per day, 5 different emails that you're going to send out to your email list to nurture them and get them really starting to know, like, and trust you. And hopefully get to know, like, and trust them by asking them questions in these emails and understanding their motivations and who they are and their age and their gender and all of that. And ask them questions, get them to respond to your emails. All right, that is your challenge for today. We're going to learn how to water this houseplant so it grows. All right, so how do we do that? Step 1, like I said, square 0, you've got to identify your ideal audience. There might be more than one, right? Kirk and Bethany and Steffi were all people who might need a website, but they're very, very different demographics. So nailing that down, what are the typical person who would purchase a website? What is their motivation and what age and gender, etc. 2, figure out where they hang out online. Kirk and Steffi and Bethany probably spend different amounts of time on Facebook. Some of them might be on TikTok. You probably wouldn't find Bethany on TikTok too often, right? Women age 65 and older don't generally spend a whole lot of time on TikTok, but they might be on Facebook to see their grandkids or something, right? So figuring out where those demographics of people generally spend the most time online so that you can also be on that platform and using it to build your business. Number 3, offer them the solution to their problem, meaning offer them your lead magnet, right? And then 4, use that automation. Like I said, use an email automator like MailChimp or MailerLite, the way I do, Infusionsoft, etc., to connect them to your email system and get them to subscribe. And that is your challenge for today, is to figure out those 4 steps. If you need help with any part of this, please make sure you comment below so I can answer your questions. I often go into the DMs and answer them in more detail if necessary. And if you're really feeling stuck, you can reach out to my team. Stephanie is my tech person here in the group. She's also an admin, and she usually is very willing to help actually build the emails for you or build the automation for you if you need help with such things. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.